Israel and Hamas have agreed to a 72-hour ceasefire. The truce, if it holds, will hopefully allow Egyptian mediators to work with both sides in Cairo to work out an arrangement for a longer-term peace. Israel withdrew all ground forces from Gaza's border areas. Both sides, at least as of right now, which has been a few hours, agreed to halt cross-border attacks, and this took effect at 8 a.m. this morning. The shelling stopped, and in Gaza City, the streets had been deserted for several weeks now during this incursion. Traffic picked up, shops started opening doors, and we're learning more and more about the backstory behind this. Of course, we have those on the Palestinian side insisting that Israel willy-nilly decided to start this Gaza incursion using the kidnapping of the 3 Israeli teens as a catalyst. On the other hand, we have increased information that actually Israeli intelligence knew from months ago that Hamas was planning an escalation in violence right around July, and it just turns out that the three kidnapped Israeli teens coincided with that and provided timing for it, but that Hamas was planning to escalate violence significantly through the tunnels for months. Will we ever ultimately get the truth? It's hard to say, Lewis. And you know, right now we have a situation where half of the people that email me say, David, you can't trust Israeli sources. Here's the reality as told to us by Hamas. On the other hand, I get people who email me and they say, David, you can't trust anything that Hamas says, particularly since their spokespeople are safe and rich in other countries and have no idea or concern what's going on the ground. You need to listen to the IDF exclusively. Both of those points of view, probably not accurate.
I'm not about listening to either side on this. Clearly, both sides are extremely biased, and as long as there's a ceasefire happening for a decent amount of time, it will give time for people's blood to cool, for tensions to cool.
Yeah.
And I just hope that it continues.
Hamas now has a choice to make, right? We're learning more and more about the connection between Qatar and Hamas, which of course is allowing and propping up terror acts by Hamas. They have their spokespeople very safely in Qatar, making tons of money taxing the tunnels. We now also have Iran, which admitted to providing Hamas with rocket technology so that they can build their own rockets without having to bring them in from Iran. And Hamas has a choice to make, right? Only 10 or 15% of Palestinians support Hamas at this time. Palestinians, in spite of believing that they should continue rocket attacks on Israel broadly until Israel no longer exists, they do want quiet in their streets. If Hamas escalates or continues rocket attacks, this is not going to bring quiet to the streets for the Palestinians. And Hamas needs to decide, do we need to continue pushing for the PR benefit we get from this rocket barrage? And, of course, the PR benefit they get from killing Israeli soldiers or individuals, and the PR benefit that they get when Palestinian civilians die? Or do they actually want to allow some quiet and see if there could be some kind of peace negotiation? I really don't know what direction it's going to go at this point.
I think the only reason that peace is an option at all is because of pressure from the Palestinian people to stop the shelling. But do we think that Hamas actually weighs things like this? No, I think they just want to keep shooting and not stop shooting forever. So I think if you want to get rid of Hamas, unfortunately, there's going to have to be some type of coup, some type of violent overthrow of this militant group.
And you mean by the Palestinian people?
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know how likely that is, especially if we see what the situation is there. I still maintain on the Israeli side, Benjamin Netanyahu at this point is not the person to lead the peace talks forward if they are ever going to start. We need someone who still has credibility as not a puppet of the religious extremists in Israel. Let's take a break. We have an excellent program for you today. Today's interview, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Stay with us.